here next, so I'm just gonna flip through, do a little Coach Greg Ultimate Anabolic Cookbook roulette. Next time, I would... Welcome back to the Anabolic Hub, where we make anabolic deliciousness. We're back inside my kitchen today, and we're doing a recipe review from Coach Greg Doucette's Ultimate Anabolic Cookbook 2.0. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the egg white avocado toast and the egg white avocado rice cake. Basically, the same recipe, just one you have toast, the other you have rice cakes. This is one of the recipes that Coach Greg talked about in his recent video when he was saying that people are telling him that he doesn't include enough healthy fats in his cookbook or in his nutrition plans. He claims he includes enough fats for all of his nutrition plans for all of his clients. We're gonna take a look at this one today, find out if it's worth your time, take a look at the fat content, find out is this something you could include in your diet to keep your fat content where it should be in the healthy range. We're gonna break down in general if Coach Greg does include enough fat in his cookbook for you to put together a decent nutrition plan that has those healthy fats included. With no further ado, let's get started with this recipe by having a look at how it's made. Here we go. Now that we have all of our ingredients prepared, our avocado is mashed up. Here we have 2 rice cakes and 1 piece of toast already toasted. This is what we're gonna put all of the egg whites and our mashed up avocado mixture on top of. Then we're gonna take it over to the taste test table. Let's finish doing the avocado mashup mix first before we get to cooking up our egg whites. Okay, all of our ingredients have been mashed in with the avocado. Now it's time to go over and start cooking our egg whites. So extremely short interlude here. Just wanted to remind you guys to smash the like button. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. I'm wondering, do you like avocados in general? Do you put them in your salad? Have you ever even had an avocado before? Let's talk avocados down in the comment section, even if we just drop the avocado emoji. Can we find that? Let's try it. Okay, comment section. Let's get back to the video now. So our pan is heating up here over a medium heat. Next step is to spray it down with some non-stick cooking spray. High capacity non-stick cooking spray loaded, fire away. Once you have your pan heated up and your cooking spray on, it's time to add in your egg whites, of course. We're going to be putting these in now and cooking them up. Because of the spice that we used, the color is a little off. You can't even really tell that there's any avocado in there, but trust me, you saw me mash it up, you saw me mix it together. It's definitely avocado that's in there. There's no picture in the cookbook, so I'm not sure exactly what it was supposed to look like, but I followed the instructions to a T. This is what I came up with. There was one missing instruction though. It did not say what to do with the chopped onion, didn't say to include it in the mashup, didn't say to put it in the pan before or with the egg whites, so I just put it in the mashup and hoping for the best here on how it tastes. Before these get cold, let's take them over to the taste test table and see how they taste. We're back at the taste test table here. Have the egg white avocado rice cake and toast version from Coach Greg Doucette's Ultimate Anabolic Cookbook 2.0. Gonna try these, see how they taste. We'll do our usual taste test first, of course. Then we'll talk a little bit more about healthy fats and how I feel about Coach Greg's cookbook and is there enough fats included in the recipes. Can't speak to how he trains his clients, can just speak to what's in the cookbook. So we're gonna quickly flip through that, talk about that after we try these. I gotta tell you, They smell delicious. There's definitely a lot of volume in this recipe. Surprise, surprise, a Coach Greg recipe with a lot of volume. Actually, there's absolutely no surprise there at all. Obviously, with the rice cakes, you do get more volume. I decided to do both. I ended up doing 2 of the rice cakes and 1 with toast. In the actual recipes in the book, it's 3 rice cakes and 2 slices of toast. So you can tell there with the rice cakes, you're getting more volume for less calories. We already know that. With no further ado, let's jump right into our taste test here. We're gonna try the rice cake version first. So we're gonna pick this one up here. Now I have to say the mashup that you do for this recipe, when you look at it, you wouldn't really know that it's avocado toast. When I think of avocado toast or even something on a rice cake, you just think green. You can barely see the green in this, so I'm sure the thumbnail was probably pretty confusing for a lot of you, saying this is some kind of egg white avocado anything. But trust me, it's there. The spices, everything you mix into it, just gives it that reddish brownish color. But let's find out if it tastes any good. Before we do that, here's a closer look. You can see some of the green avocado still showing through there. Let's give it a try here. First bite, best bite, always. Can't convince me otherwise. Okay, so for as much as you can't see the avocado, you can definitely taste it. It's also a very good mixture of everything else, providing a lot of flavor. It's not like you're biting into a straight up avocado. There's a lot of good flavor in there. Tomatoes, the onions, and the spices all come together great. You barely notice the egg white really. I mean, it's there, but obviously egg whites have very little to no taste. Obviously there for a big driver of the protein that's in this recipe. Gonna help you feel full also. The volume of the rice cake going along with that. I could see having 3 of these and being quite satisfied and quite full. And it's under 500 calories for 3 of the rice cake version. So that's a lot of food for very little calories, high protein. And in this case, you're getting a decent amount of healthy fats with the avocado. It was very messy, very tasty. Now let's try our toast version here. Here we go, here's the toast version. First bite of the toast version, here we go. Okay, so this is more what you would expect from your typical avocado toast. This tastes just like that. All that's different here, you get a lot more flavor. It's not just an avocado thrown on top of toast with some egg. There's a little bit more flavor to it with the ingredients that are put into this recipe. I could see this version being filling as well. All the amounts for the mashup are the same, so you would actually have even more of the avocado mashup on top of the toast if you did that version. So I can see that being almost probably just as filling as the 3 rice cakes. It is a little messy, like I said, that's why I brought a napkin. The version that I did read didn't mention what to do with the onions. It's listed in the ingredients, but it doesn't say what to do with them. Next time, I would probably put them in the pan and kind of caramelize them first and maybe put them in with the eggs or maybe add them to the mashup after cooking them. Raw onions, it's okay. Might want to have some mince on hand if you're gonna do it the way I did it. But nonetheless, the flavor is still really good. Like I said, under 500 calories for the rice cake version. That's just crazy for the amount of food that you're getting. So this was one of the recipes that Coach Greg mentioned in his recent video that he did about him actually including healthy fats in his nutrition plans and in his cookbook. There is a good amount of fat in this. It's 10 or more grams of fat that's going into this particular recipe. So in terms of your typical anabolic recipe, this is higher on the fat content side, but there's nothing wrong with that. If you're working it into a typical anabolic meal plan, you're still not gonna go that high into your fat content. Now, Coach Greg did mention in his video that you can eat other foods other than what's in his cookbook. So I kind of thought he was flip-flopping around there saying it's in the cookbook, but you can eat other foods that aren't in the cookbook. There's just a little confusing. He was going back and forth on what I thought was actually use my cookbook, buy it, use it for everything to, well, you can use just some of the recipes and get your healthy fats from other recipes outside of the cookbook. So I thought he was kind of flip-flopping around a little bit there, but I do get his overall point. I'm sure somebody with Greg's experience doing the whole bodybuilding thing for as long as he did it, he's been training clients for years. I'm almost certain he's not giving people nutrition plans or having his coaches hand out nutrition plans that have like 10 grams of fat in a day. Very unlikely. He even says, if you read in this particular recipe in the cookbook, he mentions including healthy fats as an important part of your overall diet, and you need to have them. So to say that he doesn't include them at all, I think is a little misleading. I think he calls it pedantic. You use a nice 25-cent word like pedantic and you sound smarter than everybody else. How to go in front of a bite, it's too good not to. Definitely a good recipe to include some healthy fats in an anabolic way. It's definitely possible to fit them in. It did seem to me a little limiting when he was talking about including fats or healthy fats in general, when he really only mentioned 2 things, avocados and salmon. Obviously, those are two big healthy fats, a lot of omega-3s in those, things that are a lot less smaller in quantity, but much more so dense in the caloric aspect. This at least is a little more controlled. You know, when you're having your salmon, you can measure it out for a certain amount of ounces or grams or however you want to do it. Same thing with the avocado. Oil is probably a lot harder to track, which is probably why it's not included in a lot of recipes. I'm gonna pull up Greg's cookbook here. What I'm gonna do here next is I'm just gonna flip through, do a little Coach Greg Ultimate Anabolic Cookbook roulette. I'm just gonna flip up and then I'm gonna stop it. We're gonna stop at the recipe and we're gonna see what fat content is in the recipe that it lands on. All right, so here we go, first one. Flipping, let's get the thing going. And what do we land on? Ooh, ham and cheese omelet. Must be using fat-free cheese because we got 2 grams in the entire recipe. All right, let's go again here. That was one. We're going. One more flip. And where do we stop? We are at apple protein pancakes. How much fat is in this? We have in the whole batch 6 grams of fat, so not a ton. Okay. All right, well, let's try it again. Do a couple swipes, we'll be fair, and we'll stop it. And we are at the pumpkin spice loaf. 20 grams of fat in the whole thing. Only 5 grams per serving, but a little bit higher in the fat content. Okay, so a little bit more. Unlikely you're gonna have 1 slice of loaf. You'd probably have at least 2 slices, so you're still looking at probably 10 grams you're gonna have in a sitting, so that's a good one. All right, so that's 1 out of 3. Let's give it another flip here. I just closed the whole thing out. Let's try it again, another flip. Ah, delicious quesadilla. Let's see. All right, so if we use the serving size here, we're not using the light version, and we go on the large size with the turkey, 10 grams of fat. Okay, so decent amount of fat in the last 2. Same as this, we're looking at double-digit fat. And that is per serving, so that's not even in like a bigger portion size, an entire recipe where you'd have multiple servings. That's per serving, 10 grams of fat if you did that particular version. We'll do 2 more, see what we get. We'll flip up and we'll flip down. We'll be fair, we don't want to just run down the list. We'll just randomly flip up and down. Oh, smoked salmon pinwheels, he talked about that one in his video, so I know this one's already gonna be high in fat. Yeah, we got 8 grams per serving, so again, higher on the fat content side. Okay, let's do 1 more. We'll just do 1 more. Flip up a little bit. Flip down a little bit. We'll stop here. And we got smoked salmon pinwheels again, so we're gonna do it again. Randomly stopping at cauliflower pizza. And in the entire batch, it's 14 grams of fat, and per each crust, it's 2 grams of fat. So not bad. If we look over at the individual recipes, 7 grams of fat, 8 grams of fat, decent amount of fat in those. Overall, I would say Coach Greg's right just by doing a little flip through roulette there. There's a good amount of fat in a good amount of his recipes. That was totally random. I just flipped around, and I would say that if you look at it from a per serving size basis, there's a lot of recipes in here with a decent amount of fat. It's true. If you put some thought into it and you're doing an actual nutrition plan that you're gonna do for more than a day, you could put it together where you had a healthy amount of healthy fats in a nutrition plan for sure using this cookbook. Just randomly flipping through here some more. You know, it's really just the baked goods that are really low on the fat if you flip through. We found out that most of the recipes actually do have a decent amount of fat when done randomly, just flipping around. So I think Greg's right. I think, yes, there's a lot of recipes in this cookbook that do contain fat. And if you do put some thought into it and you look for the recipes specifically around the macronutrients that you want, meaning to include fat in the nutrition plan, you can do it using the book for sure. Definitely possible. I think it would be interesting to build out a specific meal plan that you're going to do long term, which I know is what Greg does for his clients and his coaches do for their clients as well. Be interesting to go through and just use this book and see if you could do that. It seems like you could just from flipping around real quick. That might be a future video idea right there. We'll have to take a look at that. But overall, I think, yeah, definitely a good amount of fat in this recipe, and it's delicious, by the way. Definitely, I would say 8.6 out of 10 for sure. And in the cookbook overall, it's definitely possible to include enough healthy fats for you to have enough in your diet where you're healthy, your hormones are healthy, your body's functioning the way it should with the appropriate amount of healthy fats included. It doesn't have to be all about the protein. Yeah, we want the protein counts to be high. We want to be able to build muscle, recover from our workouts. But anabolic diet, the circle diet, is way more than just high protein and low everything else and not caring about carbs. That seems to be the perception that a lot of people have about the diet. Going through this little study here, doesn't seem to be the case. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Do you think that Coach Greg includes enough fat in his recipes? If you have the book, have you flipped through it? Have you tried to include certain amount of fats in your nutrition plan using the book and you haven't been able to do it? Or have you found it quite simple to hit the macro counts that you want when you're going through and trying to come up with meals and meal plans for yourself? I'm curious. Let's talk about that in the comment section below, but it's getting to be about that time. I gotta get up out of here, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.